Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to Real Estate Life. My name is Rob Edgerly. I'm with Maine Life Real Estate, and we are part of eXp Realty. And I am joined today by an old friend who I've known for a few years. We were part of a mastermind group that then became an even larger mastermind group. And he is a heavy hitter from Cleveland, Ohio. Super excited to have Mr. Albie Stasek with us. Albie, say hello.
Hello, Rob. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, glad you're here. Thank you very much. I've been looking forward to talking to you. You actually you turned me on to a few different things over our career, but this particular platform that we're using, I think you gave me the introduction to Nick Krem, who does this podcast platform, and I appreciate that. So I had you in mind the whole time to come on board and talk. And tell us a little bit about your market and your team and how you're set up.
Fun fact before we get into that. So Nick Krem, first of all, he goes by Nick Krem, but his name is actually Nick Krempansky.
Oh, yeah.
Krempansky's too hard for people, unless you're from like Cleveland, Ohio. And I have a lot of great, Polish, Hungarian, and Slovak friends. Krempansky rolls off our tongue, but it's not so easy for other people to pronounce. So he shortened his name to Krem. Fun fact anyway. But
That's
Nick
great.
used to work for me when I owned a company called Appointments Today, which is still in existence today. It's an online virtual call center. Nick started out as one of our callers in Cleveland, and he ended up working his way up in that company to actually running operations for it, and then him and his brother launched their own company. So just a little background on how I know Nick. Great human being.
I didn't know that. Yeah, it was great working with him.
Yes, great guy. So yeah, I'm second generation real estate agent. My dad sold part-time and out of a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, from Century 21. So I started Century 21. I moved into an independent brokerage for a period of time and helped grow that. It was actually a discount model, so I have some experience in the discount world. Decided that was not the type of clientele that I wanted to attract to my business. And so I started a team at Remax in 2007. And of course, everyone knows what happened then. The crash occurred and muddled my way through it. Ended up meeting Mike and Jay in 2010. They coached me for the next couple of years. 2013, I opened up my own brokerage and founded Stasek Real Estate Experts. Was about to partner with Mike and Jay, and that's when, of course, I found the eXp platform and merged my brokerage onto it, and that was kind of the rest is history. So that's a little bit about me. I still run a team of about 40 agents in Cleveland. We're on the western suburbs side, so any clientele that you need to be taken care of with kid gloves, we would be take excellent care of your referrals.
Nice, excellent. Yeah, so. Got 40 people on your team. Now, I think we've just hit 15 here, and I know some of the challenges. We've had more, we've had less. It takes it's a lot of work for those people that are running teams. We know that, especially in challenging times. And right now, what we're seeing is that the market is so hot that we have multiple offers on everything, and we have agents that are doing their best to bring in listings, and they're also getting beat out multiple times with buyers. So what kind of advice, what are you guys dealing with in Cleveland? Because I'm hearing this is happening everywhere. On the listing side, what are you guys doing to keep listings coming in?
So it's a really great topic and a good question, because that's really, you're nailing it. That's what agents in this environment have to start focusing on are listings. And everyone said that since I got my license in 1998, that was before Realtor.com or Zillow or any of that stuff. It was always about listings. You got to list to last is the old adage. Whoever came up with that, I don't know, but it's still the case. But it's even more so the case today, because in a healthy market, and when I mean healthy, I mean a healthy market for buyers and sellers where you have enough inventory. You can still have a nice career working with buyers, you're going to still do more work on the listing side. But if you have enough inventory, and it's more of a balanced market, you can still have a real nice real estate business, you know, and work on that buy side and work on the sell side. But in this environment, it's so brutally, difficult to get a buyer's, agreement taken by a seller when you have multiple cash offers on the table. They're going, in some markets, our market, we've had stuff go 30,000 over asking price, and we're in a Cleveland, Ohio. Our average sales price is like 225. So we're relatively a very inexpensive market to live in. It's the cost of living is low here compared to other areas, and still 30,000. And I'm hearing stories from some of our agents in California where 250,000 over asking price. So it's really, really frustrating. And the people that are listening to this from California, this is nothing new to them. I coached agents, 6-7 years ago when I was coaching for Mike and Jay and Kinder Reese. I had clients in California. That was the normal. It was normal to have like what we're all experiencing right now. The folks in California know all about it and how difficult it is to work on that buy side. So what we've done is we're still cultivating listings. What we're personally doing in our market in Cleveland for my team is we're focusing on the Express Offers platform. I had a handful of my agents, my top agents, all get certified with the Express Offers platform that's offered with eXp, where what they've done. Glenn Sanford is a genius. And what he did was he said, look, all these other companies and real estate brokerages are trying to get into the iBuyer game. He said that doesn't serve the consumer. What serves the consumer is multiple offers. We all know that if you're a seller, you want multiple offers. So Glenn thought up a way of not becoming an iBuyer, but building a platform for the iBuyers to compete against each other for these listings, which we all know is going to drive the prices up, which is better for the consumer. So we focused on really that as our top of funnel and getting listings. You can call it a cash offer funnel. You can call it an instant offer. So if you wanted to see mine, I don't know if I want to give the URL away because a bunch of people are going to go in there and put, fake leads in it. But, we do an instant offer is one of our, and so we drive people to an instant offer that's specific to ours, directly to a funnel that says, punch your address in, similar to how we used to do home evaluation, right? You punch the address in, fill out a little bit of information. So it's similar to that. But with ours, we punch their information into our Express Offers platform, and we see if their property matches any of the buy boxes for our investors. And so, in Ohio, we have multiple investors on our Express Offers platform that are ready to make offers, cash offers on properties, and that's creating some really nice listing opportunities for us.
Nice. I'm thinking we don't. Express Offers hasn't come to Maine yet, if you're listening for those of us that are here, might not be able to do that. The instant offer idea, though, I think is if Express Offers isn't necessarily in your state right now, you could probably still build out a funnel for instant offers as a way, and then bump it up against your, as you said, your list of buyers that you have.
You can. Yeah, you don't have to have the Express Offers platform is great because it takes all the heavy lifting of finding all the investors out of there. They're already there. They already understand the game and the rules, and they're ready to make offers. You can make your own platform. All you got to do is find 2-3 investors that are qualified, serious investors that have the ability to close with cash. And you just do, you kind of can just do your own due diligence on that. And then once you have those, you have your own Express Offers platform, so to speak. It's not going to be exactly like what we have, but, something similar to that. And so, yes, you can absolutely run your own fast cash offer funnel as long as you have the investors to be able to, deliver on the promise. That's the only thing I guess I would say about that.
Yeah. Well, I think most of us have those people that we're working with. So I love that idea. That's a great idea. Let's see. I should probably point out that for anybody watching this, that you're traveling, you're driving. So
I am. I travel a little bit. Yeah.
You're being safe. We appreciate that. I know everybody's got to be wondering.
My apologies if I'm not making eye contact with you, but that's the reason why.
Yeah, well, we're okay with that. Keep your eyes on the road.
You got it.
How about what's your advice for anybody that's working with buyers right now? How are you guys? What are you doing down there?
Man, we don't need to go into how frustrating it is. So the solution that I would say the best advice that I could give someone who's working with multiple buyers is the obvious is to educate as much as possible up front and explain, what they're going to experience before they experience it. That's number one. Don't assume that the buyer understands that they're probably going to have to make 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 offers before something gets accepted. That's the first bit of advice.
That's great advice. Yep.
The second bit of advice I would give is if you can become a cash buyer somehow, if you have a relative that's sitting on, a few $100,000 in their savings account that's not doing anything for them, I would ask them and say, hey, I'd make them an offer and say, hey, look, what I'd like to do is I'd like you to finance the purchase of this property so that I could be a cash buyer. I'll pay you a couple points on the deal. It's better than what's going to do sitting in your bank account. And then obviously you just want to make sure that you can refinance that out. Now, not that's not going to be a solution for everybody, but you got to think outside the box in situations like this. And I would say that a lot of buyers that are out there that have to get a mortgage, they're at a disadvantage as opposed to someone who can pay cash.
Right.
And so I'm actually literally about to do that for my sister and my brother-in-law who are looking to buy a house. I know for a fact it's going to be frustrating for them if we can't put them in a position to win. So I'm actually going to finance the deal. They're actually already pre-approved, so I know they can get a refi, and I just going to make sure that I can get my money back out, in a couple months. And so that's one I guess strategy or tactic that somebody can go into. And if that's not an option, you got to be prepared to come in high and listen to your real estate agent. In that realm, when they tell you, especially if it's someone that sells enough and they know the market inside and out, listen to your advisor, because they're not telling you to come in 10 or 20 or 30,000 over asking price because they want you to overpay. They're trying to get you to be the one that's chosen. And so, make sure you have a trusted advisor, someone that you absolutely trust, and be prepared to come in high. I mean, I don't know what you can add to that, Rob, but that's about all I could.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably it. I think the biggest takeaway for agents is don't assume that your buyer knows what's going to happen, and setting those expectations up front is really going to go a long way. I was talking to an agent the other day, and this agent was concerned that her clients were getting upset because they keep, and it's not her fault. This is when you're dealing with, 10 to 20 offers on every property and $100,000 over asking, which is what we're experiencing right now. It's just, I mean, it's tough. And if you've had that conversation beforehand, that's going to go a long way to, like, remember when we talked about this, they're going to understand that. So I love the cash buyer idea too. That's, if you can do it, that's how to make your offer a lot better. So thinking about, let's talk about accountability. You've always been somebody that struck me. I know, 100 over 0 is one of our, actually you might see it behind me here, it's one of our core values. And I know you wear your band. I was watching the other day, you guys were talking about that's definitely a core value of yours as well, and something you guys talk about. How do you hold people accountable on your team?
So I think that the thing that has worked best for our team is what we call them self-directed accountability groups, or 100-0 groups. That's easier to say, 100-0 groups. But what they are, they're self-directed groups. And Rob, if you remind me, I can get you the document on this. And if you want to offer it to your viewers, they can just send you a message and I'll get you. And what it's called is it's the foundation. It's just a 1-page foundation on how to, it's really actually the rules on what you can and cannot do in these meetings. So what it boils down to is six to 8 agents. Typically, you don't want to go higher than 8 in a group. And so for us, we got about, 40 agents. So we group into about 8 groups of 8. We tend to mix those groups up and, every session we do. And so the session's about 6 weeks long, and that group meets once a week for 1 hour, and they hold themselves accountable. So what happened with us is Joel runs my team. I'm really not only out of production, but I'm out of management. I don't manage my team any longer. And, I really just kind of operate on a 7th level, if you will, as far as leadership is concerned. And I do get involved in the marketing stuff because for me, that's fun and it's not work. And so I'm still, building funnels and testing that stuff and doing that stuff, but that's all I really do. So the problem is that as you grow your agents, and I don't care if this is a brokerage or you're running a large team, when you start to scale out, the one-on-ones, that doesn't scale because you're going to run out of hours eventually. So, my coach, John Sheplack, who I've had as a coach on and off since 2016, and now he's like one of my best friends. He's the one that actually brought this concept to us. And it was a game changer because it takes you as the leader off the hot seat in trying to hold all these people accountable. Because you've heard this, Rob, a million times. Everyone wants accountability until they get it. Right. And it's a human thing. So when you step out of this top down, accountability, and you give everyone a seat at the table to hold each other accountable, it changes everything, because it's never about holding them accountable to the team's goals or the brokerage's goals. It always has to be holding them accountable to their goals. And ultimately what we don't do is we don't talk about goals. I know I said goals a few times there, but what we do is we identify the goal, and the accountability is to commitments, micro commitments every single week that will inch you closer to the goal. So 1 hour a week, could be any day a week. It doesn't matter. And if social distancing is still a thing in your particular area, you can do these on a Zoom, but I can tell you that it's more impactful in person. Right. And so it's 1 hour. And again, I'll give you the how the rhythm of this works. But in general, everyone goes around the room and shares what their commitment is for the week. And usually I think we do 3 commitments, 3 micro commitments. It could be, if it's someone that doesn't work out on a regular basis, and I know that's not you because you're committed. And so
I'm recommitted, we'll say.
Hey, we all got to get and that's a good point. I want to get to the recommitment in a minute.
Yeah.
So it could be, look, I fell off the wagon and I need to get back in the gym again. I'm gonna commit this week to get into the gym 3 times a week. I'm gonna commit to getting a mile run or ride in whatever it is. Another commitment, and you could go into the personal realm, but because we're a real estate business and we're trying to grow our real estate businesses, at least 1 or 2 of the commitments should be real estate related. I'm going to, commit to 1 hour of prospecting. I'm going to commit to making sure I'm having 2 or 3 conversations with 3 different sellers this week about an opportunity to list their property, whatever it is. And then by the end of that meeting, everyone hooks up with a buddy. And those 2 buddies hold each other accountable until the next week. And we come back and report our results to the group. The group holds you accountable, not the manager. You don't want to come back in that room and say, I didn't hit my commitments. Now it's going to happen because we're human. where I made mistakes in the past, and this is a huge, this was the biggest aha that I've had, is that you never ever use the word why. Eliminate the word why from your vocabulary. And the reason is because if you ask somebody why they didn't hit their commitments, this is anything for your kids, everything. As soon as you use the word why, you're in judgment mode. It's a word of judgment. And you're literally asking for an excuse. And I made this mistake for years, Rob. I have 100 tattooed on my arm. It's all over my office, bumper stickers, the whole nine. And when our agents weren't doing what they were supposed to do, I'd ask them, well, why didn't you do it? You committed. Why didn't you do it? And they would sit there with this stunned look on their face like, am I supposed to give an excuse? Because it sounds like you want an excuse because you're asking me why I didn't do it, but we're 100 and you want no excuses, so I'm confused. So I was really confusing the shit out of my agents, and I apologize to you if you're listening to this now. But we had the aha moment, and we eliminated the word why. So what do you say when someone reports back into the group and they say, Rob, man, I committed to hitting that gym 3 times. I only got 2. And instead of saying why, if you were my accountability partner, you'd say, Al, beyond the realm of all that's possible, could you have gotten the commitment done? And I would say, of course, well, yeah, I could have. I made a bad choice one day or whatever it was. And if the answer to that is yes, I could have, Rob would then say to me, would you like to recommit?
Ooh.
And if that person says, yes, I'd like to recommit to that commitment again, it's how much by when? Always how much by when? Okay, what are you going to commit to? I'm going to commit to the 3 days by this time next week when we meet again. How much by when? Always has to be measured. So hopefully that's a little nugget that's going to help people, that are maybe running large teams, or maybe just, you need a new way of holding your kids accountable.
Yeah.
To what they're committed to. But I think the biggest thing for everyone to remember is that no one's going to commit to your goals. It has to be their goals.
Yeah.
And just remember, it's never about us. It's always about them. And so hopefully that's helpful.
Well, that's awesome, because I've fallen into that trap. Asking why. I admit, the other day I saw a clip of you talking with Joel about this, and I stopped and was like, I've been breaking that rule all along, and that was a big eye opener. So and that's definitely why I wanted to get into that. It's huge. Thank you for that. And if you're running a team, you're probably wondering, okay, how am I going to get these people to, take action and commit to things, and actually get them to stick to it? And we had situations where we'd be sitting around the room in years past, asking people what, staring at each other, like, why aren't you doing these things? And I think, a lot of defensiveness comes out of that. And a lot of people ends up making them feel like, it's uncomfortable. And not that they should be comfortable, right? We need to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and they know it. So I love the idea of, could you have done it, and would you like to recommit? I think that's a fantastic way of getting them to think about it and own it. So thank you for that. That's a great one.
Another way of asking why too is, people talk about their big why, and I get it. I get why people use the word why, and they call it, well, this is my big why. Another way of getting to the same, what you're trying to get to is, what's the reason? What's the reasoning by doing it? Is it money, or what is it? So I like to go to experiences. What experiences that you really, really want? What are things that you really want to be doing right now? Are you living your life by design, by strategy? What experiences are you missing out on because you're not committed?
Right.
And it'll help people, start to think differently about the pain that they're probably burying, because if they're not living their bucket list, like what we were talking earlier, and they're not living their life by strategy, but they're letting their business rule them, then there's just something that they haven't learned yet. There's a piece in that they haven't learned yet. And once they get that bit of clarity, that should give them the drive, motivation, be like, okay, I'm clear. That's what I'm missing. And hopefully that'll get the juices flowing again to say, you know what? No more. I'm cutting off the possibility. I've made the decision. I'm committing. You know,
Right.
I have to tell this one quick story. And do you guys have Planet Fitnesses in your market?
Yeah. Yep.
I used to belong to Planet Fitness. Let me tell you why I will never belong to Planet Fitness ever again. Okay.
You feel strongly about this.
It's not because of the equipment, and it's not because of the price. The price is great. $10 a month. No, here's the thing, that no commitment. Every commercial is like $10 a month, no commitment. Well, that is such the opposite of what these people need to hear. All that you know for a fact that franchise, all they give a crap about is selling memberships. They don't care if the people ever show up. Why do I know that? No commitment. $10 a month, no commitment. Just sign right up, no commitment. You have to commit to your health. You have to commit to your business. You have to commit to your family and your children. And you also have to lead by example. And if you're leading with no commitment, that's why, anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but if you want to get in shape, follow this guy, because he knows all about committing. And it's every day. It's inching toward it every day. So yeah, I'm not a Planet Fitness guy.
That's awesome. It does take commitment. You know, I should add that you've always been an inspiration. In a couple of years ago, when we in the accountability group, you were a good coach too, because I started in on the accountability, working out every day, and you cheered me on, and I always appreciated that. And that's really important for the people that are, we need to cheer these people on as well. And sometimes I think I went for 462 days working out, and I hurt myself.
Wow.
And when I finally dropped off and then kind of let it go, I had some injuries, and man, it's been a couple of years, and only last month that I finally recommit and say, like, let's get rid of all the excuses and let's get back and start doing what we want to do and making some micro commitments. So I think you mentioned that. And that's what, rather than saying, okay, I'm going to work out every day. No, I'm going to work out 15 days of this 30-day month, right? Let's start there. Now this month I did 9 of 17 today for April. So these smaller micro commitments really help to chunk it out. And I love the idea of, and then the accountability group, that was great. And I've just started posting them on my story, because now I know I've got other people watching and cheering on. So if you need, I think that come out of, if you've read James Clear's Atomic Habits, he talks.
It's a great book.
It's a great book, and having experienced this thing. So I think my point is, like, people do fall off. We all fall off of things, but we got to recommit, and that's gonna be a hashtag for this.
Can I unpack one other thing that you just said?
Yeah.
You talk about one thing that helped was me cheering you on.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate you mentioning that. I didn't know that you were noticing, but it's cool. Yeah. But that is a huge part of growing an organization, whether it's a team or a brokerage or leading anybody. Shout outs are huge. Now, me personally, even though I don't crave shout outs, I'm the guy that hates losing more than I like winning. I know it's not my best trait. I'm just being transparent. I'm a bad loser. But having said that, I'm also not one for awards, and I never got excited about trophies and all that stuff. I play the game because I love the game, and I just thoroughly enjoy it. And I do play to win. But shout outs for the majority of human beings are huge. And you don't want to wait for someone to get to a point where like, man, I kind of wish you would have, high five me on that. You want to make it part of the normal routine. So we do shout outs on our huddles in the morning. We do, when we used to have meetings in person, which I hope we're going to be returning to meetings in person soon. We never ended a meeting. In fact, we ended our meeting with shout outs. We had time set aside for shout outs so that we gave the opportunity to all of our staff that serve the agents and the agents to give shout outs to either other agents or the staff or back and forth. I can tell you right now, there's no better way of ending a meeting than with recognition and shout outs. And also right. I'll add in using social media, and we still do that. If you follow our Stasek Group page, we're always, shouting out to our top agents of the month and trying to give them that recognition. Rob, what's that saying? There's a saying that I think it's recognition. Babies cry for it, men die for it.
Oh yeah.
Is it recognition? Is it recognition? I don't remember, but it's something like that.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. I like that. That's so true. We in our Dale Carnegie trainer, and that's one of our sessions is on recognition and how do you give recognition to people and how important it is. Everybody craves it, and yeah, some crave it more than others. But we're keeping that in mind and giving that person a pat on the back and not just like, hey, good job with some evidence. Good job on this particular thing. Goes a lot deeper. That's one of the things that we teach. That's a leadership trait. Because we like to talk about people. Everybody in our team's a leader. They're a leader of themselves. They're a leader maybe at home. They're a leader with their clients, even if they don't have the positional leadership. But thinking about leadership, what's your take on what are some words of advice for those of us out here that are that want to be better leaders?
Where do I start? I think the first thing that just literally, if I were to just tell you what popped into my head, is lead. You got to walk the walk because people can sniff out the bullshit, and you can only like that whole fake it till you make it. I just don't buy that.
Yeah.
We were told that, I think, as young salespeople, that I know you don't know what you're doing, so fake it till you make it, and maybe it's only going to get you so far, but it won't get you far at all in a leadership position. I've seen people with my own eyes, people that used to work for me for a very short period of time, go to other companies on a lie and like moved into a management position. And it just doesn't, you can't fake that. Right. They will sniff you out. So you have to, not everybody is born to be a leader. I don't believe that either. It's okay. If you're going to follow someone, I would say make sure you're following the right person, because there's good leaders and bad leaders. And what I mean by that is not bad leaders, meaning like they don't lead well. They actually lead really, really well, but they're not the type of, their core values aren't in alignment with maybe you. Right. So you got to make sure that you could see a talented leader that has massive leadership skills, but they're a bad, it might be a bad person with bad intent, and unfortunately those people somehow figure out a way to still stick around a little bit. But again, eventually people will sniff out your bullshit. So I'd say the first thing is just walk the walk, and I think that, and this is something that gets tossed around a lot, but one of the first people I joined, this was the second broker that I joined, was big into personal development. He took me to my first Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within, in Chicago. I walked down Hot Coals under a highway bridge. It was an amazing experience. And that was my first toe in the water, where I dipped my toe in the water in personal development. And Glenn Sanford just recently said it best. It was that, you know, the most successful people, including him, are constantly either they have a coach or multiple coaches. Most of the people who are millionaires and billionaires have multiple coaches. You know, I'm about to hire a dietitian coach, you know, just for my diet, not to go on a diet, but to coach me on the right diet, you know, making sure that I'm feeding my body the right foods. There's a lot of healthy foods out there that may be just not right for your body, you know. So, you know, a coach for that, you know, I've hired recruiting coaches. I've hired productivity coaches, you know, leadership coaches. And so be coachable and don't be afraid to make the investment in yourself. That might be the best advice I could give any leader. Don't ever think you've made it, like you've arrived, ever.
Right.
Because the second you do that, what happens is you start to coast. And coasting is the first evidence and step right before pain. So if you find yourself coasting, get outside your comfort zone. There is no growth that happens inside that. Get a little uncomfortable. Get around some people that are smarter than you, that maybe are more committed than you, that can suck you up to their level and keep, you know, keep growing. And the more you keep feeding your brain with the right stuff, the better leader you're going to become. Because all this is no one's inventing anything. All it is a transfer. Anything you've heard me say today, it's none of my stuff. Sure, I've lived some of it and had to learn lessons from it, and through it, those lessons resulted in the principles that I've shared with you today. But it was all borrowed stuff from other people.
Sure.
And so, and that's okay, as long as it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. And I hope that my phone doesn't hang up automatically here on you. Sorry, Rob. Should have been better prepared.
It's probably a good place to put a pin in it and maybe come back again. Next time we talk, I want to talk about this company that we're part of that's been so exciting. And we're going to have a chance to meet here in person in the future very soon.
Yeah,
too.
we got some announcements that we just talked about, right?
That's right. That's right. It's going to be awesome. So we'll stay tuned for that. Won't give that up yet. We'll get some dates on the calendar and get ready to have some fun.
Let's call this part 1.
That's right.
We'll reconnect for part 2.
I love it. So we talked about listings, buyers, accountability, and leadership. I've got a page full of notes, as I usually do after these, and great stuff, man. I appreciate it. Everybody else is going to appreciate it. Can't thank you enough for your leadership and friendship and just being gracious with your time. I think that's one of the greatest things about this.
Rob. Love you, brother.
Great to see you.